Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 3 of INST 414. First, some announcements before we get into the material. Regarding the Medium assignments in the Medium publication, the vast majority of you have gotten me your Medium accounts now. I think only 4 students have not provided me this information yet. So if you haven't done that, please get on that, because for the Module 1 assignment, that is ostensibly due this week for the loose definition of what we have for due for the module assignments in this class. So you should have all the material and resources you need to fulfill the requirements of this assignment. Because now you should be thinking about Module 2, the Module 2 assignment, which is due on February 25th, or about 2 weeks from now. This week we will start Module 2 talking about graph structures. Next week we'll finish up talking about graph centrality, metrics that you can use for this, and then you'll have one more week to complete the material, complete the requirements for the Module 2 assignment. Now, the main goal here is to extract graph data, graph structures from web data in some way, using the material that we talk about in Chapter 5 and 10 of MMDS. Crucially, you need to be thinking about what constitutes importance in this graph structure. We'll talk about some metrics for importance today when we talk about trustworthy pages, and we'll talk about metrics for importance and centrality next week. As with assignment 1, you need to be collecting your own data here. You can't use some pre-published data from Kaggle, though if you want to use Reddit data from PushShift or something like that, that's fine. Since it's very large, you'll have to do a lot of cleaning on it. You can reach out to me if you have questions about that. As with all your assignments, you need to be thinking about the decisions that you want to help somebody make, and then motivate your module assignment or your article with this decision. What kind of decision might you make using network data, where identifying something about importance is an important question. So maybe you want to identify influencers who you want to target for your advertisements, or you want to identify particularly trustworthy sources that are more central. How might you do that, or who might you target that way? Or if you want to address spread or open a new audience for your material or for your content, what nodes in a graph might you be particularly interested in targeting? These are going to be more bridge nodes, or nodes with what's called high betweenness centrality. We'll talk about that next week. Once you have outlined the decisions you're trying to inform, what kind of network data might you need to answer those questions? Are you looking at social network data about who interacts with whom? Or are you looking at web data about which websites link to what other websites? What kind of data are you looking at for this? And then crucially, I need you to define what the nodes and edges in your graph structure represent. Are nodes individuals or people or accounts in social media, and edges are interactions? Are nodes places in the world, and edges are transportation networks or transportation edges? Can you get from one city to another? Are they servers in the internet, and are nodes servers in the internet, and edges are connections between them? Are they websites or pages are nodes pages in Wikipedia, and edges are links between those? There are lots of ways that you can identify or structure nodes and edges here, but you need to be very clear about what your nodes and edges represent. Once you have done that, then you need to define importance for your particular purpose. Is importance centrality, popularity, trustworthiness, betweenness, so opening new audiences, closeness, so these are accounts or nodes rather that are close to very many other nodes that might be useful for epidemiology or for spread or information diffusion. You need to explicitly define what you mean by importance using some of the metrics we discussed today and next week. And then, as with all of your module assignments, what kind of software did you use to do this? NetworkX and NodeXL are good ones. Gephi is a good example that you can use. Then, what kind of bugs did you encounter? How did you clean your data to put it into the format you need? What are some figures that help you communicate the insights that you want to inform the decisions that you've motivated your article with? What other limitations might you have? And are there any major takeaways from your analysis? What's really the answer to the question that you used to motivate this article? As with the Module 1 assignment, there are resources here. So in the GitHub repository, I have the Module 2 folder, which has a number of Jupyter notebooks for extracting network structures from social media like Twitter and Reddit. I think from Wikipedia and from news articles as well, like the New York Times. So you'll have some resources there to help you answer those questions. Moving on to the semester project. So you should be finishing up your project proposal now, because that is due today. The main questions you need to be answering: who's in your group, what are the problems that you're trying to solve, what kind of data you're going to collect, etc. As soon as you get that to me, then I'll start working and getting you feedback. Now, hopefully you already have an answer to whether you're doing your project alone or in a team. But I'll note, as I said in the announcement, and as I said last week, team construction is up to you. I do not impose team structures or group work onto anybody in my classes. So if you want to work in a team, you're welcome to do so. But it's up to you to do that matchmaking. If you want to see what other people are thinking about, you can go to the Project Ideas discussion forum. I've already done some matchmaking there, where some people have proposed ideas that are similar to each other. And I've tried to say, well, this student, you should go check out this other student's comment and see maybe you want to work together. But again, that's up to you whether you want to work in a team or not. As soon as you get us your semester project proposal, I'll get you feedback as soon as possible. You may lose points for, are you answering an interesting set of questions? Are you informing a set of decisions? Are the insights non-trivial? I may take off points if I think the insights are clear. If your motivation is just, this is an interesting topic, I'll definitely take off points for that. Also be thinking about or ensuring that you at least mention what parts of the class you anticipate using. Are you going to use the machine learning module for the supervision module? Are you going to talk about clustering? Are you going to talk about dimensionality reduction? Are you going to use tools from those modules? Because mainly I want you to demonstrate that you are in fact using the tools from this class to extract the insights that you care about. Because there are other insights you might want about time series that are super interesting and valuable, but aren't necessarily about, or things that we touch on in this class. You can definitely do those, but at least have one set of questions that you answer using the material in this class. Any points that you get taken off, though, you can address in your proposal revisions. So basically just respond to any feedback I have, submit your revisions, and you'll get those points back. So don't fret too much if you get a lot of points taken off. As long as you are responding to them through revisions, you'll be in good shape. All right, so those are the module assignments and semester project assignments you should be thinking about. For next week, though, we will end the Module 2 section on graphs by looking at the material from Chapter 10 on mining social networks. Specifically look at sections 10.1, 10.2, and 10.6, talking about centrality. That should give you all the resources you need for assignment 2, is due in a couple of weeks. And then after you get your project proposal into me, and I get you feedback, you should be thinking about the data collection report. So the data collection report is due about a month from now. You can take the content from your proposal and get to work on trying to collect the data that you said you wanted to collect. So the data collection report doesn't require you to be completely done with data collection, but it does need to demonstrate that you've made progress in the data collection aspect. So how much data have you collected? Where did that come from? How did you do it? Was it using APIs or web scraping? Or are you relying on large-scale data set like the Yelp review database or the PushShift Reddit collection, or the Internet Archive's Twitter archive? These very large-scale data sets are available for you to use. As long as you talk to me about it, we'll see that the comments you have in your proposal. But you at least need to have answers to these questions. How did you get your data? How big is it? How are you dealing with it? Are you storing it in a database, flat files? Are you talking about graph structures, data frames, something along those lines? And then what kind of data, or what kind of cleaning did you have to do on it, or manipulation did you have to do to it to get it into a format that you care about? So that's due on March 9th. That's it for announcements, though. It'll take you, at least give you an insight for what you need to be thinking about for next week and for the next couple of assignments. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the Module 2 discussion forums.